Hello my geniuses, welcome to another lecture series. Today it's your great sciences of LAWRENZO, and we're talking about the gustatory pathway, which is the taste pathway. We have talked about the visual pathway, the olfactory pathway, or all these are special senses pathway. They are all special senses, which is your eyes, your nose, your tongue. All these are special senses. So if you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on your post notification button, so anytime I drop any video you'll be sure to be notified. If you want me to make a video for you, drop it down in the comment section. I promise I'll make that video solely for you. So let's jump right into the video. So we'll be starting with the introduction to the gustatory pathway, since same as we did for visual and olfactory pathway. So like both of them that we have talked about, the gustatory pathway is also a neural pathway, or we call it a nervous system pathway, which carries taste sensation. The visual pathway carries visual sensation, the olfactory pathway carries smell sensation, but this one carries taste sensation from the taste buds of the tongue to the gustatory cortex in the cerebrum, in the cerebral cortex, or you call it the cerebrum. So it's a neural pathway which carries your taste sensation from the taste buds in the tongue to the cerebrum, or the cerebral cortex, this gustatory cortex of the cerebral cortex, or the cortatory area of the cerebral cortex. Don't forget. So now, what is the stimulus? Taste. It can be any taste. It can be sweet, it could be bitter, it could be sour, it could be salty. Any taste that stimulates the taste buds. So we'll talk about the taste buds, or the physiology of taste, in another video. Now the next is the receptor. So what are the receptor? So the receptor, like we always say, they are dendrites of what? Bipolar neurons. So they are dendrites of bipolar neurons, and when they pick up the senses in the tongue, what happens? They are transferring it so to the cell body, and from the cell body to the axons. Are you getting now? So now they pick it up. Now what are these dendrites? In the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, the dendrites are formed by the caudal tympanic branch of facial nerve. Don't forget, in your neuroanatomy, you watch my neuroanatomy video on facial nerve, you see it. And now for the glossopharyngeal nerve, it is picked up in the posterior one-third of the tongue. So the glossopharyngeal nerve forms receptors for the posterior one-third, while the area around the epiglottis, in the upper part of the esophagus, you now have the superior laryngeal branch of the vagus nerve there. So all these parts, or all these dendrites, picks up taste impulses in any area of the tongue. So when they pick it up via the receptor, they transfer it to the first order neuron, synapsing in different ganglions in the first order neurons. So when they pick up this taste, they travel through the nerves and synapse on this following ganglion. So they synapse in the geniculate ganglion, where the caudal tympanic branch synapses. Now in the inferior petrosal ganglion, where the glossopharyngeal nerve synapses, and the inferior nodus ganglion, where the vagus nerve synapses. So this is the first order neuron. So in the second order neuron, now these afferent fibers are doing what? From these ganglions now. So remember, they are brought out by the dendrite of those nerves we mentioned. They synapse on the ganglion in the first order neuron. Now in the second order neuron, now from these ganglions, afferent fibers from this ganglion we mentioned above enter into the brain and synapses on the nucleus of Tract solitarius, located in the pons and the medulla, which is afferent fibers. So we call it about SVA, which is special visceral afferent. So the special visceral afferent fibers carries it to the nucleus of Tract solitarius. So when it carries it to the brain, what happens? The fibers called the internal arcuate fibers carries it from this part of this brain, which is the nucleus of Tract solitarius, to the trigeminal lemniscus, to the ventral posterior medial aspect of the thalamus. Don't forget, from the nerves, which is the caudal tympanic branch of facial nerve, the glossopharyngeal nerve, and the vagus nerve. These nerves are dendrites, carries it all, snapping on the geniculate ganglion, which is for the facial nerve, inferior petrosal ganglion, which is for the glossopharyngeal nerve, and the inferior nodus ganglion for the vagus nerve, which is the first order. In the second order, they takes it from this place. The afferent fibers from these ganglions carries it, enters the brain, and synapses on the nucleus of Tract solitarius. So when they snap on the nucleus of Tract solitarius, they are carried by the internal arcuate fibers to the trigeminal lemniscus, to the ventral posterior medial aspect of the thalamus. This is just like a sensory relay center. Now in the third order neurons, now fibers from the ventral posterior medial nucleus of the thalamus project it to the gustatory cortex. So immediately they carried it to the gustatory cortex. So we call it the thalamocortical fibers, carries it from the thalamus, which is the VPM, ventral posterior medial nucleus of the thalamus, down to the what? Gustatory cortex. So what are the gustatory cortex? So we have the frontal operculum, don't forget. So in the anterior part of the insular cortex, you can also see. So frontal operculum and the anterior part of the insular cortex. That's why you can give your sense of what? Taste. Don't forget. Now your clinical correlation here will be studying is what we call the ageusia. So what is the ageusia? Ageusia is the inability to taste, maybe due to the damage of the afferent fibers. It could be damage of the nerve, even though it's not damage of the nerve first of all. So damage of the nerve can also give you ageusia, or damage of the afferent fibers from the what? Geniculate ganglions, which is the afferent fibers from the ganglions you will mention, which is the inferior petrosal ganglion, the geniculate ganglion, and inferior nodus ganglion. So afferent fibers going to the nucleus of Tract solitarius. Once they are damaged, you will not feel a sense of taste. So when there's afferent fibers through the gustatory pathway, when they are damaged, you cannot feel a sense of taste. Also when the insula is damaged, so you will not feel the sense of taste. Or when any part of the brain are also damaged around the frontal operculum, you will not feel the sense of taste. Or when there's the damage to the pons and the medulla, destroys the nucleus of Tract solitarius, which can also cause it. Now you also have taste blindness. So taste blindness also occur when you cannot differentiate any different kind of taste. You get it now? So you can taste sweets today, but you cannot taste bitter, or you have a particular kind of taste, you cannot differentiate from one taste to another. So we call it what? Taste blindness. So also we have hypoguesia. We also have dysgeusia. So hypoguesia is when you have a decrease in taste. A decrease in taste can be due to decrease in the nerve, or there's damage, slightly partial damage to the nerve that is carrying sense of taste. You can have hypoguesia. Why dysgeusia is the disturbance of taste sensation caused by the temporal lobe syndrome. So in this temporal lobe syndrome, what happens here, especially in the anterior region of the thalamus, when it is up, the anterior region of the temporal lobe, when it is damaged, are you getting now? You have what we call paroxysmia, hallucination of your taste and smell. So you'll not be able to differentiate. Sometimes it will be fluctuating, it will not be like occurring. Don't forget, it occurs in what we call a temporal lobe syndrome. You get it now? So we have talked about ageusia. Ageusia also can be caused due to maybe drugs. Maybe you're taking some drugs like captopril, like penicillamide, all these drugs. So when you're taking them, what happens? They might damage your sense of taste and you'll not be able to taste again. So we have talked about hypoguesia, talked about taste blindness, when you cannot differentiate between taste. Also it's a rare genetic condition, and also you have dysgeusia. So I hope it all made sense to you and you have understood everything I've talked about under the taste pathway. So if you are new to my video, make sure to subscribe and turn on your post notification button, so that every time I drop any video, you'll be sure to be notified. If you want me to make a video for you, drop it down in the comment section. I promise I'll make that video solely for you. So let us go to the next video, which is the auditory pathway. Bye bye.